Hi, I'm Professor Othmar Mosa.
And I'm Professor Klemendov. We've spent years researching the effect physical activity and exercise has on people living with type 1 diabetes.
We know that being active is good for our mental and physical health. However, many people with type 1 worry about the impact activity will have on their glucose levels, preventing them from enjoying sport and exercise.
It may feel like a constant juggling act to keep glucose levels from going too high or too low. There are a few things that people might like to take into account to help them manage exercise. The type of activity that is being done as well as the intensity and duration. Aerobic activity, like walking, running, cycling and swimming, is often done over a prolonged period of time and generally causes glucose levels to drop. Mixed activities, like tennis, football, rugby, and basketball, which combines prolonged aerobic activity with bursts of high-intensity activity, generally keeps glucose levels more stable during the event. High-intensity, anaerobic activity, like weightlifting, karate and sprinting, are generally explosive and short in duration, can cause glucose levels to rise. Competitive sport or matches can also cause glucose to rise, compared to training sessions, due to the excitement and stress of the event. It is important to note that everyone is unique. Some people's glucose levels might respond to the same activities in a completely different way to others. The amount of active insulin in the body, or insulin on board, will also influence glucose levels. The higher the amount, the more risk of having a low glucose level, or hypo, while exercising because the body is more sensitive to insulin when active. It is important to think about when last you gave yourself a bolus of insulin as well as how much insulin the algorithm has also been giving. If your glucose level is dropping before starting the activity, you are also at a higher risk of having a hypo during the event. The time of day you are being active can also affect how glucose levels respond to the activity. Some people might be more insulin resistant in the mornings than later in the day. There are many other factors that influence glucose levels, even when doing the same sort of activity. For example, your overall fitness level. The fitter you are, the less the activity might impact on glucose levels. When last you exercised, are you rested and your muscle energy supplies restored? Hormones and stress levels. A woman's menstrual cycle will influence her insulin sensitivity at different times of the month. Diet and body shape. What someone has eaten that day as well as their body's fat and muscle composition will also influence how they respond to the activity.
Now that you have considered all these things, you are ready to think through what adjustments you need to make to keep glucose levels stable during and after the activity you are about to do. If the activity is planned, you are able to prepare ahead of time and adjust your insulin dose or the app settings before starting the activity. However, if the activity is unplanned or spontaneous, you won't be able to change the amount of active insulin in your body, so will have to make other adjustments. For planned activity that could cause your glucose levels to drop, you can think about the following options. 1. Reducing the insulin bolus for meals and snacks eaten within 1 to 2 hours off the activity. You might also need to reduce the bolus if eating while active, such as when doing an all-day hike. Meals or snacks eaten directly after the exercise might also need less insulin than usual. 2. Setting ease off to start at least 1 hour before the activity. You should continue to use ease off during and after the event, if necessary. While ease off is running, the algorithm is more cautious. It aims for a slightly higher glucose target and delivers less insulin to try prevent hypos. 3. If ease off is not enough, you can also temporarily raise the personal glucose target in the settings menu of the app. This is the target glucose the algorithm is aiming to achieve. But please don't forget to put it back down afterwards. For planned activity that is expected to increase your glucose levels, you can think about 1. Starting boost when you begin the activity. While boost is running, the algorithm will be more responsive to high glucose levels, but will still stop insulin delivery if glucose levels are dropping. 2. You can also temporarily lower the personal glucose target, if appropriate. 3. Programming ease off after the event, if delayed hypos are an issue. For unplanned activity, you can consider 1. Immediately starting ease off if glucose levels are expected to drop. 2. You can also increase the personal glucose target, if appropriate. 3. Eating or drinking extra carbohydrate. The amount needed will depend on the active insulin on board, glucose trends, as well as the activity and its duration. It is worth taking small amounts of carbohydrate at a time, between 3 to 20 grams, depending on your current glucose level and overall glucose trends. You will need a larger amount of carbohydrate if your glucose levels are dropping fast and a smaller amount if they are dropping more slowly. If practical, you can enter any extra carbohydrates consumed in ad meal under hyperglycemia treatment. It's important to try keep a note of what exercise strategies you have used and how well they worked. It will help you learn more about how your body responds to the different activities you do.
Please seek support from your diabetes team for further individualized exercise advice. That's all from us for now. Goodbye, and don't forget to have fun being active.